This young man here to my left, our son Jason Phillip, is with us since February of 1995. All throughout these 21 years, he has been our pride and joy. At times, a bit more, occasionally a bit less. Erika and I are raising Jason. I have been raising Jason as a Canadian kid, but not without passing on some of our European values and traditions. Jason, from early on, loved sports. Soccer, taekwondo, hockey, lacrosse, swimming, basketball, tennis, name it, Jason played it. And he, up to this day, is practicing a very athletic lifestyle. I think it shows. 5 summers at beautiful Camp Pure, Ontario in Georgian Bay made him a true nature and outdoor boy. Schooling. Jason went through Rotherglen, Fernhill, and Appleby, 4 years each. He graduated from Appleby with the Appleby diploma in 2013. And besides the demanding academics of these schools, Jason early on developed a passion for electronics and their diverse applications. Jason graduated. He is just after finishing his 3rd year in Laurier, still hustling with the question whether to move into business or science. He has a major decision to make, and I think he has to make it very soon.
Thanks for the pressure.
Volunteering. He grew up with the Rotary idea. One thing many of you might remember still, I don't know whether it was at grade 6 or 7, he launched a program collecting used soccer uniforms. The club jumped on it and it spread, and I think we were able to send approximately 150 complete used soccer uniforms to an orphanage in Honduras. At Appleby, Jason took part in the Duke of Edinburgh program. Besides doing lots of voluntary work at local daycares and senior citizens' homes, it included a 2-week service trip to Ecuador, and it also included a family March break in Florida, but instead of fishing, Jason went pumping out 50 service hours at a thrift store in Vero Beach. The result was that he was awarded the Duke of Edinburgh Gold Medal. He's a well-traveled man: USA, Germany, Hungary, England, Bahamas, Mexico, Ecuador, just to name a few. His favorite pastimes are, and that is in rapidly changing order, girls, cars, making money, sports, and fishing, the latter preferably down in Florida. Please welcome this wonderful fellow, Jason Phillip Syed.
Thanks, Dad. Okay. Oh, thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mr. President, the honored members of the board of the directors, ladies, gentlemen, and fellow guests. Very much pleased here to stand before you tonight to discuss my experience, which you all gratefully sponsored me for at RYLA this year. Before I start, I do want to say that for those of you that haven't met Rebecca yet, she was with me. She's also a fellow RYLArian. She is currently a student at Guelph studying nutrition. She actually found out about RYLA through Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So just wanted to say that there are some amazing connections that came out of it, and as you can see, one of them is here in the room with me today, so thank you for coming out, Rebecca. All right, what is RYLA? So a Rotary Youth Leadership Award. It's a truly exciting opportunity for young kids like myself, on average from age 18 to 30, to be able to go and learn all kinds of different experiences that are going to assist them in further life. One of the biggest things that I learned at RYLA, as you can see right now, is public speaking. Before I got there, I was kind of more of a timid speaker. I never really knew where I wanted to go with my train of thought, how to speak to people. Now you see me here today, I'm in front of you all. This is relatively easy for me, and it's a nice crowd to be speaking in front of, so I got to thank you all for that. Okay, so RYLA. RYLA was held at during the last week of April this year. It was held in Orangeville, actually just outside of Orangeville in the township of Mono. It was held at an ecological retreat. This being said, we had limited access to the conveniences of everyday life, aka there was no internet, there was limited access to your cell phone, really a rural setting. It was pretty much like living like at camp. There was a group of about 30 of us, and I must say we all started on the same foot there. We none of us really knew what we were getting ourselves into. We all heard about RYLA through our respective people. For me, it was through Rotary and my parents. For Rebecca, for example, big brothers and big sisters, and there was other people that heard it through family, friends, parents, relatives, etc. So going into RYLA, I had this mindset, okay, I'm going to some program, but I don't know what I'm going to be doing here at all. I have no idea. I'm going for 5 nights. I don't know what to expect. I got there and I could tell that everyone there that was my age, which I was one of the oldest kids there, so I was kind of surprised. Everyone there was in the same position. I got there slightly late, thanks to my parents. Once I got there, everyone was already in a big circle throwing a ball around, and I kind of got there, I was like, this is interesting. I did not expect this to be a leadership program. Anyways, got there, found out that everyone had already introduced themselves, and I was kind of the straggler, so I was the odd one out. Let's just say that was quick to change. I must say that the kids there, they really opened my eyes. A lot of the time you go through life and you see people and you kind of make a basic judgment about them just based on the way they look, what you've heard about them, etc., etc. But you never really know what someone's like until you've actually sat down, spoken to them, got to know them. And that's kind of what RYLA was about. So for me, I've never been the kind of person that opens up to people. I've always been kind of to myself. I like to keep things that are to my chest and not express them to other people. But RYLA actually gave me the opportunity to talk about some of the deeper, more intimate and more serious things that have happened in my life, and allowed me to kind of step out of that cage that was preventing me from really letting other people know who I really am. They kind of got this idea of who I was based on what they've heard. Again, like I said before, the basic judgment. So, I must say that the program was really well set up. We had guest speakers, we had activities, we had like tons of social time. Just in general, it was a great setting for kids to really learn about what was expected from them. And by that I mean, we had several situations in which there were topics which were somewhat controversial. We had a discussion about the Syrian refugee crisis, which I must say sparked my blood. Like I had my blood pumping during that talk. But I think one of the most important things that came out of the whole discussion base was that everyone learned to respect one another's opinions. And I think that's something that's very overlooked nowadays, is everyone wants to express themselves, but no one wants to listen to anyone. And God gave us 2 pairs of ears for a reason. It's because listening is the number one thing that you're going to learn from in life. It's not talking. You got to learn, you got to read, you got to listen. The way the program was set up, the first day was kind of, we got to know each other, everyone got to know a little bit about one another, names, something really basic. But then the next day, we kind of jumped right into the intense stuff. We started off with a presentation, a speaker. I think Chris, Beth, you also spoke that day. So we kind of got the idea, the baseline of how the rest of the week was going to play out. Mornings, the schedule was always relatively similar. In the mornings, we'd wake up at a set time. We'd go have breakfast with the entire group of people. You'd sit with someone new every time, or you try to sit with someone new every time. And just kind of get to know everyone. And again, this was something that really, really increased the chances to create connections and networking. I must say that there was kind of something in my mind telling me as I was getting to RYLA, you need to be a lot more open-minded towards this, because I got there and I was thinking, no friends, no nothing. I'm going to be so bored. I'm going to be so alone. But coming out of it, I'm going to say that it's probably one of the most life-changing experiences for me. And I've been through a lot. As my dad was saying, I've been to Quito, I've been on service trips, I've been helping out as much as I can around Rotary, volunteering and whatnot. But I do have to say, meeting people at my age, my skill level, the same kind of life goals and the same position in life as me, and seeing the diversity and seeing the kind of people that there really were and hiding behind this kind of like exterior wall that they put up. It was eye-opening, and I've said this multiple times, and it's the one thing that I always say when I talk about RYLA. It's eye-opening. Sorry, I need a sip of water. So every evening, it was social activities for the most part. That, I guess, was really the time where we got to know each other, aside from obviously seeing who knew how to speak, who knew how to do this, who knew how to do that, who knew about stuff in the world that was happening, who knew about specifics, that kind of thing. There was always those people talking in the classroom per se, while we had the leaders there. However, it was kind of in the free time that we had that you really got to know what everyone was like. I must say, I made friends with a group of 4 guys, and we were tight from the first day that we got there. It was good to see how similar people are. You might think that this world is so diverse and there's so many different people from different places, different backgrounds, etc. But at the end of the day, we are all people, and one thing that I have learned from RYLA that I continue to tell all my friends to this day, I actually told one of my friends this today, doesn't matter what position you hold in life, it doesn't matter where you are in life, financially, socially, or anything like that. It doesn't matter. Intellectually, you can be anywhere. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We're all the same. We all feel the same way. We all react to things the same way. We have things that spark our anger. We have things that make us happy, etc., etc. So the key is, rather than looking at people for who they are, kind of realize that everyone is a person. You treat someone like a person, you're going to get treated like a person back. And that was one of the biggest and most important things that happened to me at RYLA. I was able to treat people in a non-judgmental, open way, and I received the exact same back. And I must say that was one of the most gracious feelings, because it just felt so good to know, people are genuinely interested, people genuinely care about you. So in retrospect, I must say, RYLA, life-changing. Just remember this from my presentation. RYLA is life-changing. If you guys have the chance to sponsor someone in the future, please, please, please do it. I think that every kid should have the chance to go, just because realistically, I came out of it and I can see, I myself am a confident person. I've always been a confident person, but coming out of RYLA, it was like a whole new level of confidence. I came out, I was like, oh, I can talk to anyone, I can do anything. It just felt great. So, okay. My dad kind of gave me a little outline here of where I should be going with this, but I can't really follow it. I'm going to just put that aside. All right.
Be yourself.
Yes, okay. So
Do your own.
there are a few comments that I'm going to make. In terms of how RYLA is advertised and whatnot, for my age group per se, and this is speaking on behalf of me and on behalf of some of the RYLarians that were there, the advertising needs to be more student and younger clientele based, if you can kind of understand what I'm saying there. The way that I saw RYLA was, I'm going to be going and I'm going to be hearing people speak for 5 days straight, and there's not going to be anything else involved with it. I'm just going to go there and that's it. That's the end of it. It was a completely different experience. I had so much fun, even during the speeches and the presentations and everything. It was a great time. So in terms of advertising, I really, really strongly encourage that you try to target what we're all looking for at our age group, which is we want to be social, we want to be talking to other people, we want to get to know other people. We want to know that there's other people in the same boat as us, coming to the same thing as us, thinking the same as we are. Because that is going to make us comfortable. That is going to make us a lot more open to wanting to go to something like this. And that's not me saying that I did not want to go. That's me saying that I was scared to go. Coming out of it, completely different mindset. In terms of the staff and the leaders, I must extend a huge shout out to them, because they did an amazing job. Chris Beth did a great job maintaining everything, keeping everyone in check. And then we had Amir. Amir did a great job as well. He really was able to bond with the kids. So the staff that have been selected to kind of host RYLA, perfect. Can't be any better. That being said, I am going to go back to your guideline now, because I don't know where I am. Okay, so yeah, I want to say that Rotary in general has opened my eyes to a lot of things. Just how people can live, how people do live, and how people want to live. All those three kind of standpoints in life, you can see through Rotary. You can see the people that are well off that come here and they want to make a difference. You can see the people that just kind of come here because they want to be here, they want to help people. Then you can also see the people that we do help, right? Those are the people that need it the most. And I must say that this experience, I'm speechless. Like it was just great, and I thank you all so much for sponsoring me. It was incredible. So if anyone has any questions about RYLA or anything related to, please feel free to ask now. Looking good? So the question was how many people were in the group together, and it was 36 students. So everyone was either in school or just finished school. I think we had one teacher with us that had just come out of Teachers College. So
you said you feel much more confident about public speaking now that you've been there.
Yes.
How much time did you spend practicing public speaking?
How much time do we spend practicing public speaking? Well, so everyone had what we call a speak out. So at some point over the course of RYLA, you would speak out about a life-changing event that really influenced you and kind of change your perspective on something. And I won't get into too much detail about where everyone went with their discussions, but I will say that they got really intense. You know, there was stuff discussed that wouldn't normally be discussed at a dinner table, or wouldn't normally be discussed unless it was like within a family setting. So I do have to say we really became a family, and the public speaking became more of like a social speaking setting rather than an actual stand-up and public speak, and that's kind of how I feel right now. I've sort of familiarized myself with all your faces, so it's a lot easier for me to speak to you, and that's one of the big things about it is you need to get past the idea that everyone is going to judge you, and you got to get to the point where it's like, okay, everyone wants to hear what I have to say, and that's what RYLA did. That is honestly what RYLA did. Yeah.
Jason, you have Chris Beth sitting here, who obviously did a marvelous job in setting everything up and running it. Now, if she would ask you, is there anything what you, if you would be in her position next year, do different? Is there anything you would have to suggest?
So for those of you that didn't hear it, the question was, is there anything different, or anything that they could do differently at RYLA? A suggestion from me. Honestly, the way that it was set up, it was just perfectly in between strict and fun. So there was a baseline which we all have to stick to. Obviously, we all have to follow the rules and whatnot. But there was flexibility as well. We were allowed to, have fun at the same time. So I mean, it was a perfect mix between the two. There was serious points, but there was also really funny and great points. So, I mean, perfect combination.
Great. So first up.
Jason, that was just an excellent speech that you gave. Some of us in the room here remember when you first visited Rotary, and no, you were a lot smaller than that. And as I was kind of going through this, I was thinking of the word family. And often my wife sometimes uses the phrase that we're all part of a village, which she has stolen from someone else. But it is very true that you're a part of the Rotary family, and we live in a small village. And as parents, as we see our children grow up, it is very, very important. As you were speaking, I was thinking of an evening in Mumbai in India. And my son, after he finished university, I said, you have a trip with me wherever you want to go. We want to go to India. So as many people know here, I did a lot of business in India and have a lot of contacts. So there's a big formal dinner of all my partners and very senior people sitting around. And my son was there, and it was hosted by the RYLA group. And I remember there was 20 or 30 people at this rather formal dinner. And my partner was a fellow by the name of S.K. Mitra. And S.K. Mitra was a bit of a disturber. And he was always very willing to pull somebody's chain. So after a couple of drinks and in the middle of dinner and just before it all ended, he stood up and he said, Patrick, he says, could you please stand up and give us your impressions of India? He had never been there before. And I was reaching over to grab him, to pull him down, saying, you don't have to do this. SK is pulling your chain. And he proceeded to stand up. And what I was amazed with, was how articulate he was and how sensible, and you used the word life-changing, that seeing India and the experiences of India and that happened there from a different perspective was life-changing for him. But it was also, as a parent, very gratifying to see that all that education paid off in private schools. When RYLA, the objective of RYLA is to almost an awakening. It is the passing of the torch. It is an exercise that Rotary puts together in the hopes of perpetuating the future and kind of the good work of Rotary. And what you've done tonight, and by articulating what you've learned, and more importantly, the sense of responsibility that I think is probably a little clearer that we all have to society, particularly when we've done well, to give back, to participate, to be there, not to be on the sidelines, is a very important part of RYLA and what you learn. So on behalf of the Rotary Club of Oakville, your family, I want to thank you for being here tonight and for giving such a great speech.